Hey there, folks. So, this episode, we're back with the AI Makes game. This time around, we're going to be working on the health bar in this case, based on what the AI has decided it wants to make. So, it's going to give apparently immediate feedback when the player takes damage, makes the health status clear, and it's engaging during combat. So, it wants us to create a widget. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Creating it through the content browser, that's expected. Now, I'll preface this part here. I'm going to follow through with a lot of the process that the AI defines, but ultimately, I hate working with UI in C++. I don't know what it is. I prefer to do it through blueprints and the widgets. So I'm going to attempt to follow through with what it says, but later on in the episode, you're going to see I give up and I just go straight into blueprints. So first off, we're going to make the widget that the AI has requested. It's a user widget, obviously. Widget blueprint player health. If I could spell. We're going to open that up. Now, the AI said to use a progress bar. Well, we'll try that. If I could spell again, progress bar, drag that in. Now, you're going to notice once we select that, there's no anchors or anything like that. The reason being is you need to wrap a progress bar with a canvas. But you don't need to, but you should. So the AI didn't mention anything about sizing or anything like that. I'm making some personal choices here. Add a bit of padding to the corner. Drop it out a bit, 50 pixels in each direction, and I make it a little bigger. 250 by 60 was a little too fat, so I dropped it down to 45. So that was a mistake the AI made, not wrapping in a canvas. I'm not going to be going through and tallying up the AI mistakes in this episode specifically because, well, I choose to make some changes. So, all right, so the binding it tells us to create. So right now, I'm looking over at the AI's direction. I didn't actually bring it over on the camera. I'm not sure why, but I'm looking over at the fact that it told us to, where is it? Oh, here it is. Create some bindings using the health component. We want to get a reference to the pawn, get a reference to the health component, and then use the get health and get max health functions. So get owning player. Okay. And it had us do a validate on that. So is valid. Oh, actually, in this case, I don't do that. I get component by class first. BB health component. But it did want some validates in there, so I'm going to do that. Clean things up a bit. This is one of the reasons why I prefer to stay away from blueprints where possible, is just the spaghetti mess with blueprints. So anyways, is valid. Oh, find that. And there it is. We validate the owning pawn. If it's not valid, we're going to return 1. Apparently, we want full health. Personal preference, I prefer 0 because it's going to show no health. You're going to see there's a problem right away. Then we do an is valid on the component. If it's not valid, again, we return 1. Personal preferences, we should be doing it as a 0 again, as I mentioned. And then in here, this is where we run into the next problem. Get health. Well, it's not available to us, as you can see. So if we go take a quick look in Visual Studio, we'll look at our health component. Well, we don't have a get health or a get max health function here, but that's because it's in the header file. So we're going to take a look at that. And you can see float constants, get health, get max health. They are not exposed to blueprints. Well, I could easily fix this, but I'm going to do it the way we've been doing it for everything else with the AI. I tell it it's screwed up. So after telling it it's screwed up, it tells us to, well, it says great catch. Let's expose those. So, and it's just telling us to add the blueprint callable U function. So I'm going to copy that and we'll add it to both of these functions quickly. I'm going to run a build and I'll be back once we are in the editor. All right, so we're back and you can see we now have access to get health and get max health. Pretty simple percentile here. It's get health divided by get max health. And then we're going to plug this guy in. And I quickly changed this over to red. Decided it didn't, AI didn't tell us to, but red health bar makes sense because it's health, not shield. All right, so after we've done that, hop back over to the AI. It's now telling us to add it to the screen through code. Now this is where, as I mentioned at the start, I hate working with UI elements in code. I don't know what it is. There's just something about it. It just, I've never really enjoyed it. I find it clunky working through code for the UI. So I add in the stuff that it asks us to add in. The references into the player character. I add it into the begin play. You can see I just quickly jump back up to begin play. And then from here, obviously do a quick save and we need to do another build. But I canceled the build because these two errors showed up. It's telling us, well, here I'm letting the AI know there's a build error. The AI only tells us to throw in an include. Now there is other stuff you need to add in here. And honestly, this is where I'm just like, I hate AI code, UI code. I'm going to move over and do it to the UI and override the AI. So in here, it's saying include user widget, blueprint/user widget. That's not the only thing. It's your project includes, like where you add in, I can't even remember what it is off the top of my head. You add in the references to the modules in there. You need to add in some extra includes. But anyway, so here you can see this build failed and I just was like, screw it. I'm going to do this through UI. So I delete this chunk here and I go through and I delete the stuff from the header file. Don't know if, did I record that? No, I didn't. Delete the stuff from the header file. And I just hop back into the editor to do this through the UI. I did not want to do this in code anymore. So we open up the third person blueprint because we're going to create the widget here. Open the full blueprint editor. And in here, we're using the blueprint path to create the UI stuff. So on begin play, we're going to create widget. So the class is going to be our player health bar. And we need to obviously get owning player, get player controller. If I could spell. We promote this to a variable so we can access it in the future. Obviously, I think there's going to be the upgrade window and stuff that we need to reference, but add this to viewport. And ultimately, that should be everything that's going to work. We need to do to get this to work. So close out of this. We hop back into play in editor here, and we're going to find our first problem. So we don't get close enough to the bots. We need to mention that to the AI at some point, but the bots are attacking us, but our health bar is not changing. So I quickly open this up, go into the graph. I throw some breakpoints in here. So you can see this first one. I throw a breakpoint on this first is valid. Move this off the screen. And you can see in the bottom right, it quickly flashes up debugging mode failed. And that's because we have that breakpoint. It's hitting it and we can't play an editor because of it. I then throw that in the validation for the component. It does the same thing. And then finally, I throw it on the success path return, the divisible, the percentile. And here you can see I'm actually able to play. So that's telling me we're never hitting that breakpoint. And as you can see here it is. We're never hitting this one, which means this validation here is returning false. Because we hit the first one, we hit the second one, we didn't hit the third one. So I'm just like, again, this is UI. I hate dealing with it in code. Let's just sort this out. So I add into the widget a component reference for the health component. And obviously you want to change this to, if I could spell, BB health component object reference. And we send that to instance editable and exposed on spawn. Compile and save. Open up our blueprint, our third person blueprint here. Refresh the node. And now you can see we have that pin for the health component. So we just add that in, clean this up a little bit, compile that, go back to here, and then we go into our function for get percentile. I'm going to clear out some of the stuff, but also drag this in. We're going to make sure the health component is valid, and then use that to get the reference to the get health and get max health. Compile and save that. Go back and play again. So our blueprint, as you can see from that little debugging mode failed, we are hitting that success path now. So I get rid of that blueprint. You can see here I'm taking some damage. Now I'm running around. I start killing off some bots. I got that upgrade point there. I couldn't remember which 1, 2, or 3 was the upgrade to check your health. I pushed 3, which is speed. I clear out this next wave. Get rid of that one. I put 1, which is damage. And then in here, I clear out this last wave. And from there, once they're gone, I hit 2, which is health. And you can see the health bar, it jumped up because we added to our health. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. If you got something out of it, go ahead and like, comment, or subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. If you want to take things a step further, maybe become a member or dropping a super. It's a solid way to support my work. Appreciate you sticking around, and I will see you in the next episode.